Tonight, in this edition of the primetime newscast on EQUINOXE television, an SDF member of parliament flees his village and is currently residing in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. Honorable Joseph Bandam is going to be telling us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on EQUINOXE television that he cannot stay in his Batibo village alone. Also in this edition of the primetime newscast, we talk about a minor in Ezeka Nyong-Ankele division of the center region of the country that has been sexually abused. The child is currently under medical care. Plus, we talk about the upcoming presidential election slated for the 7th of October 2018 in Cameroon. 6 files have so far been deposited at the elections governing body. Those are headlines. We shall be right back. Stay with us. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you back from the weekend. You are watching the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on EQUINOXE television. A minor, 11-year-old girl is currently being treated in a hospital in Ezeka of the Nyong-Ankele division center region of Cameroon after she was sexually abused by a bike rider. She is still under intensive medical care at the Ezeka district hospital. The alleged rapist has been detained at the Gendarmerie Brigade in Ezeka. Details with Innocent Aze.
Yedgar, the 11-year-old girl sexually assaulted recently by a commercial motorbike rider in Katsina Temtem in Ezeka, Nyong-Ankele division of the central region, is still under critical condition at the Ezeka district hospital. She's been administered intense medical treatment to heal her injuries and pain.
On dit que l'enfant est tellement dans un état tellement critique.
Recalling what transpired,
c'est que l'enfant explique.
Man, father of the abused minor, recounts that Yedgar went out that fateful day at about 2 p.m. to sell the common drink known by many as Fulere.
Quand il ouvre son seau pour montrer au bensikine,
he says Yedgar told him she was taught by a motorbike rider to buy Fulere, but deceived her. There were many other people in need of the Fulere drink at the construction sites around the bush. The bike rider convinced her into the bush where she was mercilessly raped.
L'enfant ici, là où on est présentement, pour venir le violer ici.
An eyewitness known as Mr. Mark confirmed the story.
Je n'ai pas su ce qu'ils ont eu à causer là-bas, mais j'ai vu.
He says he saw the movement but did not hear what the bike rider was telling the 11-year-old girl.
Qu'elle a été violée.
As after, the little Yedgar resurfaced looking miserable and explains to them what has happened to her.
Vous vendez les photographies, or on venait la violer.
Mr. Mark and other men touched by the act organized a manhunt all over the town and later laid hands on the alleged rapist.
Quand on s'est mis à fouiller partout là dans la ville, on a récupéré la personne dont il se retrouve à la brigade.
He is currently behind bars at the Ezeka Terrestrial Gendarmerie Brigade, while the parents of little Yedgar pray for their daughter's quick recovery. Meantime, authorities have blamed the act on high rate of insecurity in the town of Ezeka. Reports say this is the third case of minors sexually abused in the same locality.
J'entends pas vu. Appelle à la fille là que si elle me connaît. Ouais, dis donc, est-ce qu'on peut? Voilà ça non?
And another august guest expected in the country starting today is going to be at the Unity Palace tomorrow in the nation's capital. The Grand Master of the Sovereign Order of Malta, His Most Eminent Highness Frank Giacomo Dalla Torre del Tempio, that is his name, would arrive the country this evening for a 4-day official visit. He was invited by the President of the Republic of Cameroon, President Paul Biya. The Grand Master of Malta would meet the Minister of External Relations, the President of the Republic of Cameroon, tomorrow Tuesday. He's also going to be visiting the refugee camp in the east region of the country and is also going to be visiting Lom of the Mongo division in the littoral region of Cameroon. We shall be telling you more on that in a subsequent newscast. Now, critics have condemned the burning of the symbols of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party over the weekend in the far north region of the country by supporters of the ruling CPD and political party. The act that was involving the House Speaker Kavaye Gejibril, the House Speaker of the National Assembly in the country, has equally left many in shock and consternation within and out of the country. The CRM party says that they are going to be taking a court action. Samanji Kangebril tells us more in this report.
The burning of the symbol of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party, KMER, last weekend in Marwa by partisans of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement has caused a total outburst on the social media. Most of the reactions have condemned the third highest ranked personality of the country, House Speaker of the National Assembly, Kavaye Gejibril, who led the act as barbaric and termed it as another revolution that is showing its face. Others say that the act of burning the symbols of KMER is a sign that the ruling political party is already feeling defeated, reasons why it decided to go down so low. It is via a press release that officials of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement reacted to the incident, indicating that they are preparing to file a complaint for sanctions to be meted out to those who burned their symbols, not leaving out Kavaye Gejibril as one of them. The burning of their symbols, they say, is not part of politics.
And talking about upcoming presidential election in Cameroon, 3 more presidential aspirants have so far deposited their files at the Directorate General of Elections, Cameroon, the nation's capital, Yaoundé, ahead of the 7th of October presidential election in the country. They are Isaac Fozo of the Movement for the Emergence and Awakening of Citizens, that is known in its French acronym as MERCI Party, Bertin Kissop of the Cameroon Party for Social Justice, Barrister Akeremuna under the canopy of the Popular Development Front, which invested him. That was a few weeks ago in the northern part of Cameroon. Other candidates now have 3 days to deposit their files at the elections governing body for scrutiny. So far, 6 files have been deposited at the Directorate General of Elections, Cameroon, ahead of the 7th of October presidential election in Cameroon. Now, we see how presidential aspirants are using the social media to sell their images or their various political parties ahead of the 7th of October rendezvous. We see how candidates are using the social media to communicate, especially with the public. What does that mean? And what is going to be the impact? Our reporter Armstrong Sanda Fomi tells us more in the following story.
The 2008 presidential elections campaign in Cameroon will be done on social media. It is evident in the choice of this medium by some candidates to declare their intention to run as President of the Republic of Cameroon, and the recent declaration of candidacy by President Paul Biya through his Twitter handle. The choice to communicate with electorates on Facebook, Twitter ou Instagram is not done by chance.
Les réseaux sociaux sont devenus un moyen de transmission des messages, un moyen de transmission des projets. Donc c'est devenu aujourd'hui un moyen incontournable.
Social media has become a means to transmit messages and a medium to pass across projects. They have become an inevitable tool. If you do not master them, then you are backward.
Si vous ne les maîtrisez pas, c'est que vous êtes très en arrière.
Drawing inspiration from the success of the 2009 White House race by former President Barack Obama in the United States of America, experts say Cameroonians can make it too on social media. According to Professor Luison Esomba, politicians have understood that social media is the fast and effective channel to transmit their message to the public.
Le président de la République s'inscrit dans la modernité numérique, c'est-à-dire qu'il voudrait que justement pour faire passer le message, on peut utiliser un moyen comme Twitter.
The President of the Republic is getting into the digital modernity, wherein Twitter could be used to send a message to the public. He is, however, not the first person to have understood this. Remember, Akeremuna did so too. He used the social media to announce his candidacy.
Bien avant lui, Akeremuna a également utilisé la même voie. Il est passé par le canal Twitter pour annoncer.
It should, however, not be surprising to see more Facebook, Twitter, and other social media accounts from these candidates in the days ahead.
That is Fomi Sanda declaring or talking about the importance of the social media and how it's going to be a very veritable campaign tool across the national territory ahead of the 7th of October presidential election in the country. And another independent candidate makes known his intention, that is Etonde. It was during a press conference that took place in the country's economic capital, Douala, today. He says that he is an independent candidate. He was speaking to media men and women in the city of Douala, during which he said that he is representing Cameroonian youths at home and abroad, their competence as well. He is also going to make sure that there is social justice, peace, and economic development in the country. He has pledged to grant general amnesty to all political prisoners in Cameroon. A government with 15 ministerial departments is what he's going to put in place, and the repatriation of the mortal remains of the first and former president of Cameroon, Amadou Ahidjo. Those are some of the political programs of Etonde that met with media men and women in the city of Douala today. Now, the custodians of constitution violates the law of the land, provoking an outcry from civil society actors. That information emerged in a meeting which took place at the weekend in the nation's capital. Dynamique Citoyenne actually granted a press conference in Yaoundé over the weekend to denounce President Paul Biya's legal flaws in the postponement of the legislative elections that was due to take place this year. Details with Babla Jonathan.
Dynamique Citoyenne civil society organization condemns violation of election laws enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Cameroon by head of state Paul Biya. According to the organization, President Paul Biya's bill, later promulgated into law, extending the mandate of members of parliament, did not respect laws governing the legislative and municipal elections.
We firmly condemn the violation of the law by the head of state, who has not respected the deadlines for the convocation of elections of mayors, municipal councillors, and parliamentarians. He was supposed to convene these elections on the 21st of June for the elections of parliamentarians, and on 27th of June for municipal councillors. The law that came on the 11th of July was after the deadlines, which was 21st of June and 27th of June. That's why we are condemning this law, who has violated the first law of the electoral code.
Concerning the Anglophone crisis, Dynamique Citoyenne highlights the restoration of peace in the two English-speaking regions of the country as a priority that should come before any other thing, even the close to 13 billion francs CFA humanitarian aid plan of government.
The elections to elect the national president are supposed to concern all the Cameroonians. Now that a big part of the country is out of control of the government, how will they organize elections there? First. Secondly, how do they talk about humanitarian plan? It's for who? The people concerned are no longer in their villages. Can they tell us the number of houses destroyed, the number of schools destroyed, where they are going to build again schools and so on? We think that they had to convince a national dialogue to contribute to back for peace before talking about anything else.
However, Dynamique Citoyenne will deploy workers on the field to monitor the presidential election.
An Honorable Joseph Bandam abandoned his village, and he told Equinox television in Bamenda that he is not doing so alone. The SDF legal advisor and member of parliament for Batibo has revealed that Batibo and other parts of Momo division of the Northwest region have been deserted. He left the nation's capital after the June parliamentary session and having taken care of other party activities, but he found an empty village in Batibo. He has decided to relocate to Yaoundé. I cannot go to Batibo and stay alone. That was the declaration of Joseph Mbandam. Let's hear him in the following excerpt. He was speaking to Mbo Stella in Bamenda.
Got there yesterday and I saw a desert. I saw an unprecedented graveyard. There is nobody in Batibo apart from soldiers. I drove to the hospital, which I heard it had incidents. Then I discovered that all the doors of the hospital have been destroyed. There is no single patient, there is no doctor, there is no nurse. The place is deserted. I came back to my own house, I sat there, there is not any single person for me to talk with. So I came back and slept in Bamenda. And I know that Batibo is no longer a village. We will have to start from scratch. Everybody is gone to where I do not know. In fact, so many have gone out of the place into Yaoundé, totally displaced, Douala, Bafoussam, and even Bamenda here. There is nobody in Batibo. How do I go and stay alone? The whole of Batibo has been displaced. You should better ask me how many people did you see there. I saw 5 people. So you can know the rest. I think this government is the most callous and irresponsible government, because for my 20 years in parliament, we predicted what is happening with us today, and that we said that this thing will explode someday. It has now exploded and we no longer can handle it. The government doesn't know what to do apart from continuing to use force and deserting the whole place. What can I say? I can only tell the
The SDF member of parliament painting a picture of the situation in Batibo Northwest region of Cameroon. It is almost a similar situation in the two Anglophone regions of the country today, as the people in the two Anglophone regions were observing the ghost town today. Now, official statistics indicated that a total of 6 persons have so far died of cholera in Cameroon just in the past few days. 43 other cases or 43 other persons are currently under treatment in hospital. One of them has been confirmed in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. So far, the Minister of Public Health, Andre Mamafuda, is taking precautionary measures and advising the population on how to prevent themselves from contracting the deadly disease. He was speaking to media men and women today in Yaoundé. Let's hear him in the following excerpt.
Today, to notice that the prevalence of HIV is dropping from 4.3 2011. Actually, we reached 3.4 thousand. It's a good news for Cameroonians, but I continue to appeal young men, young girls, because in this period of holidays we can have more infections. I will appeal women in general that the high prevalence is in their hands and they can take their responsibility concerning sexual acts. Please use condom if you have irregular relations.
That is the Public Health Minister, rather talking about the prevalence rate of HIV and AIDS across the national territory. They're bringing us to the end of this first segment of the news. Time for us to meet our guest. We shall be right back. Stay with us. Good evening to you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Bergeline Dumo, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Good evening, Mimi.
You are a gender promoter and supporter, an official of the Cameroon People's Party. Thank you so much once again for coming.
Thank you very much, and thank you for to have me as your guest today on this Monday morning.
You have been at the center of happenings, especially in the political scene in Cameroon, and a lot is happening now with the upcoming presidential election in the country. So far, we have 6 candidates that have deposited their files at the Elecam office in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. What do you have to say about that, if you have to react on the various candidacies?
Well, you know, we at Cameroon People's Party, we are not standing for election, not because we don't size election as a as a moment for a country, but at CPP we think that this is not the best moment to hold an election in Cameroon. The condition, the environmental condition, we have 6 regions with strong issues of security. You have the Far North, you have Northwest, you have Southwest, you have even East, North, and even Adamawa that are facing serious security problem. And you have all these other problems: no lights, no water. Our Ministry of Health was talking about cholera and so on and so forth. We can multiply so many problems, and we think that this is not the best time for election, but the time that Cameroonians must size and think about deeply our country, how we must resolve all these problems before running to election. And the only opportunity we at the CPP and Stand Up for Cameroon believe is political transition. We must have that moment when we all sit as Cameroonians and bring solution to all these our problem. Then when we have a fair field, where we will have a fair battlefield with good law concerning concerning election, we will go to
Cameroonians got to these problems that you have been citing: insecurity, health issues, and the socio-political crisis in the country under a particular regime which is still there.
Yes.
Some opposition party leaders will say that change is going to be the solution. Don't you think so?
Okay, which change, Mimi?
Change of power.
Which change? We all know, we all Cameroonians know that there will be no change through election. We know all who are the winner. Even those who are going to election, they all know who are the winner. We have electoral code. Even now, who are fixing the how can I say, who are fixing who are fixing election? As far as
organizing the election.
We are organizing election. You will say Elecam, but who is Elecam? Out of Elecam, on the field, what do you have? You have DO, you have governors, you have chiefs, you have phone, and so on and so on, who are member of the system, the ruling system, and who are in charge to make the winner that the winner that we know to win his election. So it's not even good at my side to discuss about the issue.
So the CPP is not taking part because you are sure
we are not taking
that you cannot go anywhere, even if you take part in the election.
Yes,
nothing will change.
Because you know that even the 5 million people, I think it's 5 million registered people. I think that even if these 5 million people vote for either Kawala, either Akeremuna, Kamto, and so on and so forth, even if they win, the real winner, the person that we call at when publishing the result, will not be then. It will be Paul Biya.
And so you think that political transition is going to be the solution to election rigging?
Yes.
These lapses that we face in the electoral process in Cameroon.
It's the only solution, and the people are the one who are going to hold that political transition. So it's not a matter of political party or social activity, but a matter of all Cameroonians who stand for their country and say, this is too much. We have gone too far. We have to stop and have a normal country, build another country from its roots to its roof.
Many people are still believing in the ballot box in the election in Cameroon, and the question that several women would want to know, young women that are looking up to feminist gender promoters like you, is where are women? What are they waiting for? Because so far we've not had any candidature of a woman standing for the presidential election in Cameroon, like we saw in 2011 with the president of the CPP political party.
First of all, Mimi, I would say that I'm not sure that Cameroonians are believing in election. We are on the field every day, and you know even the number of people who have registered. We must supposed to be more than that, but we did not do it. And when about female candidature, okay, there's still 2 days or 3 days, but we are not going. Kawala is not going, and I think that women must think now that political transition is the best moment for them to stand, to put in front all their problems, all the situation, all the difficulty they face in this context, so that it must be addressed and found solution during political transition. Since we are going to build another country, we are going to take back our country, and we women, we must stand during that period to discuss really about our problem. So it is important for we women to stand in massive number, like we are doing. We start something with Stand Up for Cameroon through the Women Mother of the Nation, which is an initiative for women acting to stop violence. Stopping violence, then act for political transition, so that to address...
When you talk about political transition, many people really want to know the definition of political transition. Who are the actors to be involved? How is it going to... How is the political transition? That is the question that many people would need answers to.
Yes, it will take a long time to go across it. We can say that just have the image of Burkina Faso. People stand, they were in front they stand for their country, and they push, they throw Blaise Compaoré out and sit and discuss about the constitution, discuss about the electoral code, discuss about who is going to take in part for 2 or 3 years in political context, and so on and so forth. This is the same way for Cameroon.
So it has changed things positively for Burkina Faso. It should be an example for Cameroon.
Yes, since the people are the ones standing, acting, and deciding really for their country. That is political transition.
Thank you.
The decision of the people.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bejeline Domu, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Together.
To our viewers, it was equally a pleasure having with us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs until we meet again. Goodbye.